What's going on, team? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. So in this video, I will be giving you guys an update on the markets. We'll look at S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, ticker symbol SPX and IXIC, along with some of the other stocks like Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, and Apple, to give you guys an update on those stocks as well. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel and recommends this video to other people who might be interested in watching as well. Also, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and or technical breakdowns. So the S&P 500, before we jump into the technical pattern for the index, if you were to look at some of the SPY holdings, again, these are some of the stocks that are inside the S&P 500 index. Some of them aren't, like Tesla is not, but still, you can look at Nvidia going up over 6.68%, closing in at $493, and the high for today was $496, I believe. So $496.39, absolutely killing it and just surging to an all-time high. It's just crazy with this market how staggering those returns are, right? So Square going up almost 7.5%, closing in at $152. Hitting highs of 153. Zoom, for example, was up over 8.67%. So you can see that it hit a high of close to $267.94. So it was up quite a bit on the day. And then Tesla, congrats to everyone who made a killing on Tesla. It hit an all-time high at $1,845, I believe. So $1,845 and 86 cents, and it closed at $1,835, and it was up over 11% on the day. Absolutely crazy. So if you look at this green candle, this is a daily chart, going up over 11%. Nonetheless, in my opinion, the RSI and the MACD seems a little bit too overextended and overbought. In the short term, I'm not surprised if you do see a minor pullback, but then again, in the long term, this stock has just been killing it. I mean, this was a big push up, started consolidating sideways for the next few days, and then another big push higher. I mean, and we've seen that from the last couple of days, right? So going back as far as August 11th, when they actually announced, I think, the 5-for-1 split, since then the stock essentially surged over 34%. Now, if you were to look at Apple, we saw a very similar pattern for this stock as well when they announced their earnings. So this right here is going to be their earnings, and they also announced the 4-for-1 split, which they will be doing at the end of August. And then as soon as that news came out, you can see that they have since surged over 22 to 23% because people just want to get in before the split actually happens. Now, nonetheless, I've already mentioned this before, a split does not change anything about the company. Nothing fundamentally changes about the business model, the revenue, the market cap. It's just a way for the company to bring down the share price and just issue more shares outstanding. But again, it invites more retail investors to actually invest in these companies because not all brokers allow fractional shares. So it definitely makes it more accessible to that retail audience. So that being said, quickly going over Amazon, ticker symbol AMZN. This right here is going to be kind of like the chart, and if you were to look at the 4-hour chart, you can see that it was up close to over 1% on the day as of the time of this video, closing in at 31.82. And this is, in my opinion, some type of a bull flag because you can see that it's making kind of higher lows, which is seen as a sign of strength and a good support because it's not going as low as it did the previous time. But at the same time, you can see that it's also making some type of lower highs, right? So there's definitely a little bit of weakness when it comes down to the resistance. So we are getting rejected and the stock is not going as high as it did the previous time, but it's also not going as low as it did the previous time. So in my opinion, this can be seen as some type of a bull flag because we are coming up from this huge run up and then we're starting to go sideways in between this triangle, right? So last week of August, right around August 19th, 20th, or even 21st, 25th, you can see that as we close down this wedge and as we go in further, if there's enough volume for Amazon stock, we can potentially see another breakout out of here, and then Amazon eventually hitting new all-time highs over $3,300 to reach $34, $35, or even $4,000. I mean, anything can happen in this market. I mean, Tesla has gone from literally $300 earlier this year to now touching well over $1,800. So definitely a lot of momentum. So now that being said, now we're going to jump over to our famous S&P 500 index, ticker symbol SPX, and we'll kind of go over exactly where the market's traded, what levels to watch moving forward, and what patterns we've been following. All right, guys, so this right here is going to be the S&P 500. So right now we are looking at the daily chart, and you can see that as of the time of this video and as of today's close, the S&P 500 was up close to 27 basis points, closing in at 3381.99, so almost at 3382. And we've been following this for now, I believe, well over 2 months or a few months now, going back as far as June 11th, so entire month of June, July, and now it's the middle of August. So you can see that this right here was probably the biggest daily sell-off that we witnessed back on June 11th, right? So that was a drop of over 5.89%, almost 6%. So not only did we gap down, but we also had a really bearish day with this huge sell-off all the way down to 3,000 levels. Now 3,000 has been tested twice, once going back on that day on June 11th, and then once again on June 29th to June 30th, where we essentially retest this level and then push up higher. So the S&P 500 has not yet seen a significant sell-off of over 3% since June 11th, right? So this was the biggest sell-off more recently, and moving forward, you can see that this right here, June 24th, we sold off close to over 2.5%. This right here, June 26th, a drop of again 2.5%. This right here, July 13th, a drop of close to 1%. This right here, July 23rd, a drop of over 1%. And this right here, more recently on the day-to-day chart, August 11th, a drop of close to 80 basis points. So the markets have made it very clear in the short term where they want to go. And the bulls have done an incredible job, just absolutely amazing job, pushing the support higher and higher and higher every single day, every single week. Now, the 3,000 level was our strongest bull camp. Then we retraced it to 3155 as a really strong bull camp. Then pushing that higher to 3,200. Then pushing it higher to 3,233. Then pushing it higher to 3,280. Then I essentially retraced this right here, the 3,330 level, as a really strong bull camp. And then this right here, the 3393, is where the all-time highs sit. So if we go over to the 4-hour chart, you'll notice that in my previous market updates from last week, I essentially mentioned that the 3380 to 3387 level has a lot of resistance, right? So the bodies of these candles are essentially aligned with 3380, which is what this line represents. So this right here, the close for this candle on August 11th, 3380, the open for this candle 3380, the close for this candle 3380, the close for this candle on August 13th, again 3380, and the open for this candle 3380. So a lot of resistance at that level, and you can see that today these right here are going to be the 2 4-hour candles from today. So August 17th, 9:30 a.m. and this is going to be again August 17th, 1:30 p.m. and we finally gap up, so we break above the 3380 resistance, and we essentially revalidate and find support at that previous resistance. So if you go over to the 1-hour chart, you'll kind of notice that this right here was acting at some type of resistance, and we're now finding that as some really strong support. So that's actually a good thing moving forward. But however, the 3387 continues to be our resistance in the near term, right? So we have gone rejected there going back as far as August 12th. We hit that level, had a pullback all the way down to 3370, pushed up, retested that level on August 13th again, and then got sold off all the way down to 3362. So there is a lot of resistance, and like I mentioned in my previous market update, the bulls need to do just a little bit more legwork, and we do need some help from tech in order to finally break out of 3,400 and see all-time highs, which is going to be absolutely incredible and the fastest recovery in the stock market history from a crash of over 36 to 35%. So in my opinion, there's definitely support at 3380 now. The 9 EMA, which is the white line, also is sitting at 3380. If I were to bring out the RSI, the MACD, on the 1-hour chart, you can see that it's basically flat. So it's not giving us a very clear understanding on where the direction is going to be moving forward. But in my opinion, there's no doubt there's strong support at 3380 and a strong support at 3387. And this week, if there's no news that comes out related to the stimulus, to the vaccine, or anything else, I could potentially see us just consolidating sideways in between this range until something comes out, and then that pushes up the markets to reach all-time highs, breaking over 3,400. So now jumping over to ticker symbol IXIC, which is going to be the Nasdaq, our most famous Nasdaq, hit an all-time high yet again, closing in at 11,129, was up over 1%, all with the help of tech, as we already went over earlier in the video. Hit a high of 11,144, and it did pull back towards the end. Now, my analysis was a little bit off from prior weeks. So you can see that we had a double top resistance here. And in my previous update, I essentially mentioned that when the Nasdaq does make a double top resistance like here, it usually does sell off all the way down to its support. And then for the third time, we finally break out of that resistance. So that was kind of like the idea behind the analysis. And I'd mentioned that this right here is a very similar double top. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Nasdaq essentially comes down to fill this gap and retest its support at 10,836. But instead, we just gap up and push higher to break out of our double resistance. Now, this right here is not a very strong breakout in my opinion. I'm still going to hold this resistance as a double top because you can see that we did close above that level, but this could also be kind of like a false breakout. So I would be very cautious with tech if we didn't have a very strong close, right? So right now we're looking at the 1 hour chart. We did break out and then pull back. So this could be a revalidation of this previous resistance, now acting as a support, but it could also be a false breakout, right? So it could be one of those two things. So tomorrow, if we do see the first 1 hour as a green candle and we push up higher and close above today's high, then that breakout can be validated. But if we do pull back and break below this resistance, then it could seem like it's a false breakout. And in my opinion, this could potentially be a false breakout, and then we could potentially come back down moving forward or even consolidate sideways. So as always, if you guys enjoy this video, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel and recommends this video to other people who might be interested in watching. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and or technical breakdowns. As always, happy investing, and I will see you guys in the next video.